Alrighty folks, we are here at the Adept level for the Shadow Mage, and let's take a look at the new spells. So we've got Nightblade. Able to melee attack from up to 50 feet to perform a dash attack, converting 50% of your magicka, into bonus magic damage on hit, last 60 seconds. So currently that's 240 damage, but as you use spells, of course, your magicka depletes. So since I switched from the Atronach stone to the Shadow stone, I don't always have, like, after killing somebody, I don't immediately go back to full magicka. So the Nightblade does less damage each time you use it. And it does use up quite a bit of magicka. And of course you're using magic for other things as well. So that's... it makes it a little weaker, and it's quite expensive to cast as well. So you're burning through, you know, a big chunk of your magicka before you even get to activate it. Sometimes it also doesn't activate, I've noticed. So it is a little bit on the glitchy side. We've also got Reveal Secrets, which I didn't use in the demonstration part of the video. All it does is reveals or illuminates nearby containers, doors, and keys within 75 feet. We also have Shadow Dance, which is also a little bit glitchy, and a 20-foot dash attack is, a 20-foot dash is not very far. And it costs 75 or 79 magicka. It is kind of interesting. I mean, you saw me do it a couple of times there. I'll just do it right now. So you have to be moving forward. I thought at first it was like, okay, you just jump and it'll do like a dash in the direction you're facing, but no, you have to be moving. And yeah, I mean, it's a little bit of distance. It's what, two-thirds to three-quarters of this room, pretty much, from here to there, here to the threshold area there, or whatever, between the in the door jamb. I don't know what to call that. So it's not bad. It's not great, but it's not bad. And that is it for those spells. I also got Stone Flesh, although I think I actually forgot to add that to Akado's recital, so we were probably still activating Oak Flesh, which is kind of dumb. And I think that's pretty much it. I didn't really use Azra's Wrath in this one, or Azra's Wrath, I should say, sorry. And I think that's it as far as that's concerned. Still have Julianos on there. So let's take a look at the perks. And of course we gained another level. So for Illusion, I have picked up Quiet Before the Storm, so that casting magic is quiet, doesn't alert others. Dream Thief, which I'm not using, because I'm not really sneaking up to sleeping targets, but that got me to Kindred Mage and Fickle Fate to increase the effects of the strength of my illusion spells. Conjuration, we also got a bunch of stuff. Actually, I'm gonna just get that too, because without having both of these on, your sword is actually fairly expensive. And when you're casting all these other spells and stuff, and I don't have a huge pool because I've been splitting my levels between health and magicka. Anyway, we already had Mystic Binding. We got Soul Raider. Bound weapons cast Soul Trap on targets for 5 seconds. After trapping 250 souls, all bound weapon perks last twice as long, so that sounds really good. So I guess this one would last for 10 seconds then. Then we've got bound weapons banish Daedra and turn reanimated undead. Didn't have an opportunity to use that on in this particular dungeon location or fort, but yeah, it also does extra damage to non-conjured Daedra. And Void Burn, bound weapons brand victims with unholy energy for 5 seconds, halting magic and stamina regen, and draining 15 points per second. When both are depleted, the energy starts devouring their flesh, dealing 15 points of magic damage per second. Destruction, didn't put anything else in there because none of these other perks are actually going to benefit us. I mean, we could use Harsh Lesson. If I wanted to interrupt spell casters, that might be nice. But pretty much all the other things, I'm not using runes, so I don't think any of the other perks will actually affect the Triumvirate spells. Restoration, I should have not actually spent this point at all. I'm just using the absorb spells from Triumvirate, so just ignore that perk, don't bother spending that, and don't put any points into restoration either, or any skill into restoration. For alteration, I grabbed a Spellblade to increase attack damage while wielding a spell in the other hand, which I often have. And for resistances, I went with Frost and Shock. I always use Frost on melee characters, because when you run into wizards that cast Frost on you, it slows you down. So I always do that, and since I'm also a spellcaster, I usually do Shock as well, because it's, you lose Magicka. And it's also, Shock spells, like, ranged ones are basically instant hit too, so they're hard to avoid. For heavy armor, I grabbed Battle Weary for basically just you take less damage as they drop in, your enemies drop in stamina. And Born to Fight, heavy armor weighs half as much and slows you down half as much when worn. Since I am wearing heavy armor, I wanted to be as light on my feet as possible. I also grabbed heavy armor fit and Face of Death, so I don't have to wear a helmet which would mess up my beautiful hair. And for one-handed, I got Furious Strength, which I think activated a couple of times in that video, decapitating a couple of enemies, and Disciplined Fighter for the reduced stamina cost, and finally Clash of Champions #1, reducing attack damage of anybody that I hit with the sword, which just gives me a little bit more survivability. And I think that's it for the Adept Shadow Mage. Thank you very much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this, and we will see you in the next video.